Okay, now that we covered this web diagram that I made, and I hope I illustrated how trading is going to happen, where liquidation only, where retail just sells to their own brokerages or the brokerages that are using the same Cusip, okay, and then they will in turn trade amongst themselves, broker to broker, and ultimately hold the syndicate, which started selling the fake shares, liable. Or they'll do an agreement with between them where the loss isn't where the loss is kind of spread out. But just to put this and this chart that I made earlier, where like I said, I gave the totals of each Cusip batch. Okay, so for these guys that in scenario 1 with 350 million shares, naked shares, the combined total for this batch for scenario 1 is 17.9 million. For scenario 2 is 28 million. For scenario 3 it's 46 million. Okay, and I just remember I haven't added the totals that we've confirmed they've received. Okay, so in this chart I didn't add 53 million, I didn't add 21 million, 13 million, 12 million. I'm giving these 8 brokerages the benefit of the doubt that they received all the shares that they needed and they haven't naked shorted. Okay, leaving the 97 out of the 105, right? The 97 to because we're told those 97 have received this 61.459 million. Okay, but they're undisclosed. But what I'm saying is I subtracted their total, the total of these 8 brokerages, okay, from each of my scenarios. Okay, 305. Okay, and so each of my scenarios also takes into account the 165.5 million NB8 shares. Okay, that's how conservative these figures are, and I personally don't see it being less than 350. Okay, because this includes the 165.5 million NB8 shares. So it really, this scenario 1 is really double the float, scenario 2 is triple the float, and scenario 3 is quadruple the float, 4x. Okay, so if we take 165.5 times 2, okay, it's around 331. Okay, so this is 2x, this is like 3x, this is like 4x. They're all very conservative, and the reason I'm going to just say it again, the reason why I'm not giving you very optimistic figures like 1 billion shares, even though some of the evidence strongly suggests that the naked shorts could have reached that figure, is because many of these brokerages, they create fake accounts, skeleton accounts, and between each other, right? So when in that week of Torch emerging into MMAT, we saw the volume go well past 1.5, 1.6 billion. I'm sure a portion of that was just between themselves. Okay, so taking into account people that are just not into this trading and aren't up to date with what's happening, and I would even further say that taking into account a portion of shares which maybe they're going to screw over investors in Asia or Europe, I think these figures take into account all of that because they're so conservative. Okay, now what I ended up doing was I took these totals and I made a diagram to further illustrate what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's take a look at what I did was I made diagrams like this for each of the totals, okay, to illustrate what would happen further. So in scenario 1 with 350 million shares, okay, this batch using this Cusip would trade back to the syndicate, okay, after they got covered their amount, okay, which is likely going to be more than what I'm showing here. This is a conservative figure. They're going to trade amongst themselves after they recover the shares from retail, and the price that this batch, this dark red batch got, will be different from the price that this batch got from their retail investors. Okay, like I said previously, if I were one of these bad actors, my main goal would be to figure out a way that I could put a ceiling on the price, right? Or at least create a synthetic wall, right, where the information, the total combined information and the total combined retail pressure is dampened, right, where it's retail isn't privy to that information because they've divided into subgroups of Cusips trading it, right? And this will allow, I believe, the brokerages from then reverse trading it backwards to the syndicate that sold them, the syndicate members that sold them the fake shares to begin with. Okay, and again, this doesn't mean that the price won't go super high. It just implies that their retail might not see the actual overall price that their MMTLP or NBH shares are selling for. Okay, so this batch could, on average, the retail investors with their shares in this batch using this Cusip might see an average price of 150, and then over here in this Cusip with 78699 or PER 653059, because there aren't as many retail investors in these two, you could see maybe a price of 75. This one could be maybe $100, and then over let's say this orange batch over here where they have to cover 20 million, they could see a price of maybe 500, right? But an overall picture, if they were all combined together, and if retail actually gets the figures from all of these brokerages, these 105 brokerages that are going that all need to buy, possibly most of them need to buy, not all, but probably most of them, right, need to buy back a lot of shares. It's after a point, it's going to be like where each of them just tries to outbid the other, right? It could get to that point, but I think that's why they've separated it into separate batches, separate Cusips. So when it's finally time to liquidate, we don't see the overall price, and the bidding war isn't between retail and all 105 brokerages. The bidding war is between the batches of brokerages using the same Cusip within their own groups. Okay, and then, like I said before, they're all intertwined. They all are going to work out a deal amongst themselves in the end. But the point is, I mean, conservatively, remember, this takes into account, this 350 million includes the 165 million. Okay, this is just, I'm just saying this is double the float that they have to cover. Okay, just an additional 165 on top of the 165 million. Okay, but if we go down to the second scenario of 500 million, I mean, you have this should be 59. Hold on one sec. You have these 59 brokerages, which combined are going to have to cover 242.3 million. Okay, so they are, like I said before, they're going to cover a portion by liquidating some of their assets. They're going to fund another portion by selling cryptos. And I think a portion of investors may end up getting screwed, and I think those investors will be in Europe or Asia. So if I personally had a brokerage account in Europe or Asia, I would at least register half of my shares. If not, if I would even go as far as registering like three-fourths of all my shares. Okay, because if this squeeze happens, then say if I have 1,000 and I register 750 and keep 250 shares, then if I'm confident that the price is going to reach 1,000 and I'm happy at selling my 250 at 1,000, right? Then that's, I think, what is that? I think they're around 2.5 million, right? And it's all going to come down to like how they actually open this to trade. If we actually see the total price, how many naked shorts they are actually going to have to cover, and yeah, so, and it's going to come to your own individual choices, I think, right? Me personally, I'm gonna see how things go, but I'm gonna sell off portions at maybe 500. I'll sell a portion at 250, right? I'll see how things go, and like, I'm personally kind of exhausted with this situation myself, right? But if I can get money quickly out of this, and then quickly reinvest into other plays, and the majority of my money is coming right out of the stock market. I'm going to put like 10% into the cryptos, 10% back into stocks. I'm going to pay off my debts, and I'm going to try to get into a very good position for, you know, I think the entire global economy is tanking, and I think there's going to be a humongous real estate crash. So if you have some money on hand, I think really, I think ultimately the same banks and brokerages which are gonna lose out this way, they're gonna end up recovering their money through another way, right? Like, everybody that makes their money in this play, they're gonna end up paying off their mortgages, they're gonna end up paying off their car loans and debts, right? So I think it's not all doom and gloom for these bad actors. I think many of these bad actors are also going to find that a lot of the money that they're paying these investors is going to come right back to them in the shape of paying off mortgages and other loans, and people reinvesting their money. Okay, so I hope, and this is a summary of all this. All these scenarios together. I'm gonna make all of these diagrams available after I tweet out the videos. So what I tend to do is, because I need the views on my YouTube videos, and I want people to actually watch the videos, and so they can hear my explanation, and then they can also comment any questions and stuff. And then after like a day, or maybe in the same day, I release all the diagrams in the tweet as well, so people can screenshot it and reflect on it on themselves. And in my next video, I have a second theory which I've also tweeted about in the past, and it has to do with the letter of possession and the DTC. So if you wanna, I'll be making a video on that, but if you guys want more information on that, you can always do a tweet search, put my name, and type in the phrase letter of possession, and my tweet comes up. And have a read of that, because I'm going to be making a video on that theory as well. And just try to just hang in there with this play, because I don't think time is on their side at all, right? And I think there's so many developments. We're still waiting on the SEC to give a response. Okay, the deadline in March. Okay, and the NBH board is gonna move ahead with selling, getting their 40 million shares sold, right? And if the SEC doesn't raise any concerns, like we spoke about before, then who knows who's going to buy those 40 million? It could be oil and gas giant, or it could be these very bad actors that have naked shorts, right? But anyways, I'm going to end the video right here. I hope you enjoyed it, and please like, share, and comment. Thank you.